So today, after spending quite some time conversing with ChatGPT on whether I am really an INFP, the idealist, or an INTJ, the mastermind in the MBTI personality system, I start to ask myself, why is it so important for us to spend so much effort to pinpoint what is our personality type, what is our exact type? And I realized that a lot of my students, or our students in our previous courses, some of them have asked similar questions of why do they need to fight to fit themselves into one type. So type is something that if you have taken a personality test before, like the MBTI, the 16 personality, the Enneagram test, you realize that you are given a particular type, whether it's 16 type in the MBTI or 9 types in the Enneagram. Those are distinct types that don't overlap that you get when you take a test. So it's not a spectrum like the big five. You have to have a preference and a type. So a lot of people, a lot of my students and people have valid questions of why do we have to box ourselves into one type? Isn't that limiting our freedom of identity? Because indeed our sense of identity are often fluid. And so boxing ourselves feel like very limiting. And then there is a question of practicality. What is the use of knowing my type? Let's say if I am a thinking type, I tend then I am naturally weaker at feeling. Or if I am an introvert, then I am not good at extroverted tasks like public speaking or socializing. Why can't I be everything? Why can't I develop all my weaknesses and become a perfect person and don't have to choose a type? Because often type come with strengths and weaknesses. So those are valid, but I think that I have realized that there's several benefits um, of being able to pinpoint your true type and your identity. And and it comes from the benefit of structure. There is a benefit to having an identity and a structure for that, because a lot of theories about personalities show that there are framework system that if you are of a particular type, you have strengths and weaknesses, you should follow a certain developmental path. And even though those theories are not perfect, there is a lot of powerful benefit. One of the most obvious one that I have seen that a lot of people don't realize after it's too late is a sense of home, a psychological home. Because believe it or not, in this society, in this fast-paced modern world, we are so used to not being ourselves. The term here, the correct term here is flexing. If you're an introvert, you flex, you stretch yourself to be more extroverted. Or if you're a feeling person, you try to be a bit more logical, more thinking. So after so much, we wear a mask. We stretch ourselves so much, we forget our home. We forget who we are. And knowing about your type, your identity, will give you that sense of home that you will very much need it. And a lot of us don't realize this important of a home until a particular painful crisis happen, like a midlife crisis, or when you need it in a top high performance role. So when we talk about midlife crisis, this is where it happened when people forget about their home and do not maintain a psychological balance. What does that mean is that if you are an introvert, you naturally find comfort and strength in introverted tasks like deep thinking, reflection, being alone. And if you stretch yourself for too long, you lose a sense of balance, and it causes a deficit. cause an unconscious sense of unhappiness. And there are consequences for ignoring that, which I think one of that is that midlife crisis, and where I have seen a lot of people switching career, a feeling person, a lot of people who abandon their very high paying job, high profile job to do something very ordinary, such as a feeling person abandon the job in finance because they want a feeling person, feeling people prefer a human touch. So they change their job to something like nursing or being a teacher so that they can restore the balance of being able to feel. Then the next benefit that is become more clear is in high level performance role, like in sales as a manager or as a leader. Then in those very high profile position, top performers should play to their strengths and not just improving their weaknesses. And then a lot of people will be lost because they don't know where to start. I have a student who is actually an INTJ. So basically, she's an introvert and an abstract thinker. And then she was wondering for a long time why she was not able to speak up and be more assertive like many of her colleagues in this very sales-driven environment, because she worked in financial sales. Only after taking the course and taking the test, then she's convinced that she is really an INTJ, an introvert, and an abstract thinker, a highly analytical person. And then she realized, okay, she have been pursuing and trying to do something that is not her natural strength, and she will never be as good as some of her sales colleagues who are naturally fit for that role. So she's decided that okay, she should slowly switch to a fire position that is either in a back office or in more analytical role that allow her to be more to play to her strength as an INTJ, a mastermind, an analyst, and or in the meantime, she should have an outlet for her natural self to come out in that sale extrovert driven environment by being more introverted and more intuitive with her close friends and family more, so that at least we can maintain a balance while waiting. And lastly, similar to the idea of the psychological home, is that sense of inner confidence. Like, in any system like the MBTI or the Enneagram, if you read the profile or you study it more, you realize that it make you accept that you have a certain role, a certain strength and weaknesses. And there is a system of development. If you are um, an introvert, you will uh, develop extroverted function to support yourself in adult life. If you are a feeler, you only develop your thinking side much better in later in life, in after midlife. So it gives you that tremendous sense of relief and peace to know that you don't have to be perfect. There is a timeline and there's a path for you to follow, that you don't have to be jealous or affected by other people's opinions. If you're a feeling person, you don't have to try to be as good as a thinking person straight away, but can slowly develop that. And I think that kind of path and inner confidence is very, very important for your happiness. So I hope that makes sense to answer the questions of why do I need to find my personality type. The question is, how do you find your true type? There are three main ways. Taking a usually personality tests, online personality tests are not very accurate. Maybe 60%, 70%, and your type can change. There are two other ways. You can hire a certified consultant. I am certified, for example. That comes with a fee. But in our human minds, in my training, I tend to promote the last method, which is to learn the system of MBTI or Enneagram or whatever system for yourself, so that not only you can be convinced and decide for yourself with confidence that what is your true type. but you also understand what is a unique makeup, what is the cognitive functions, what is the order of your functions, what is your strengths, weaknesses according to the system, so that you can um, have a more nuanced and advanced way to develop your development path uh, instead of relying on other people's. So I will put a video here about cognitive functions so that you can uh, learn to use the 8 cognitive functions to find your true MBTI type. And see you in the next video.